In a world where robots want to destroy all humans, a nude cybernetic assassin travels back in time to traumatize a woman named Sarah Connor, who will one day raise a son, who will lead a resistance group of humans, who will battle the robots, and will eventually send one of the rebels back in time to impregnate Sarah, so she will raise her son to fight robots, so they can send that guy back in time. Femininity in the post-apocalypse.
Hello there, my dastardly divas of destruction. You're listening to Femininity in the Post-Apocalypse, a feminist exploration of dystopian media. I'm your host, Klaire Lockheart. I'm an artist who lost all social skills because I have been doing nothing but paint non-stop for the last few months to wrap up my Pollock-Krasner Foundation grant project. Despite my desire to retreat from the horrors of everyday life, I feel compelled to make the world a less lonely place by discussing doomsday media with people I adore. My fantastic guest and I will talk about the movie Terminator from 1984. We'll recount the plot, evaluate the film, and at the end of the show, you'll get to meet the newest recipient of the Honorary Doctor of Dystopian Studies degree from the Unaccredited College of Klaire. Thank you so much for joining us, my friends. I'm thrilled to introduce my wonderful guest. Aaron C Packard is officially a fine art photographer, but he's truly a mad scientist because he spends all his time in his darkroom messing around with chemistry. You may remember him from that one time you went out drinking in San Francisco but confused him with Marky Mark of Funky Bunch fame. Or perhaps you remember him from this podcast when we flapped our gums about Blade Runner, Ready Player One, or Mad Max Fury Road. My friends, you can see his incredible photography on his website, aaronpackard.com, spelled AARONPACKARD.com. Thank you, Aaron, for joining me once again.
No, thanks. It's always so fantastic to be here.
Aaron, tell our friends listening what you have been working on lately.
Let's see, working, lots of working. We've both been doing lots of working. But in particular, I have been developing Photo Lab number 7.
Was that pun on purpose?
Yes.
Aaron, tell us what Photo Lab number 7 is.
Well, it's pretty much just your traditional photo lab with some film developing, printing, and some other digital magic thrown in.
So in addition to being a mad scientist, you're also magic.
Sure.
Aaron, I should probably disclose to our lovely listeners who don't know us in real life that we are married, so they don't think that I inappropriately fawn over my guests.
Yes, and that I don't use such familiar terms with everybody. Definitely.
Regardless, I'm pleased that you could join me yet again to explore another apocalyptic movie. And we're going to talk about Terminator, which I didn't notice until our most recent watch is actually titled The Terminator.
Yes, the Terminator.
How did I miss that?
The just kind of disappears for a lot of us.
I can't say I've ever heard anyone refer to the movie as The Terminator.
Very true. Very true.
But Aaron, when did you first watch The Terminator?
Wow. I was trying to remember. I don't exactly remember. I know it was at the theater. I know I saw it at the theater. Anyways, but so the very appropriate, inappropriate age to have seen it at that time. Yes, it was one of those influential films of young teenage boys, I'm sure, at the time of, you had Schwarzenegger and oh, what's his name? The actor who plays Reese, who I can never remember his name and such, and those 80s action characters. So that's just kind of what a lot of the movies we were watching that were about.
So I'm wondering if by influence you mean it changed how you dressed and talked, or if it just made you really interested in robots and stop motion animation.
Definitely the robots and stop motion animation and saying yet even more stupid catchphrases in everyday lingo.
I believe this is, once again, a movie that I absorbed through cultural osmosis and didn't actually watch until recently.
Uh-huh.
Now, I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would, but it might have had something to do with the beverages you made for us beforehand.
Ah, yes, we had rusty nails.
That seemed thematic because
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
robots and metal.
yeah. In reality, a bit sweet for the subject matter, perhaps.
Do you
But
mind sharing that recipe for our friends listening in case
uh,
they want to make a rusty nail?
sure, it's pretty simple. It's just a nice Scotch whiskey with drambuie.
Yes, and we used a 2-to-1 ratio of Tomatin scotch with the Drambuie.
Yes, yes. But drambuie is sweet. That is some sweet, sugary stuff.
It fits in well with my hummingbird lifestyle.
Oh, yes, definitely it does.
Speaking of drinks, I want to remind our friends that the ancient Greek Maenads were famous for drinking in the woods. I bring this up because the Maenads inspired our Maenad-O-Meter media metric,
Manometer.
which we'll use to rate the movie after we recount the plot of Terminator and discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
To help refresh everyone's memory, I'm going to recap The Terminator. I suppose if any of our friends listening don't like it when someone explains the end of a movie, I should warn them that I will retell the entire plot as best as I can. If they choose to listen all the way to the end and are unhappy, then they can steal some Skynet technology and go back in time to warn their past selves not to listen to this episode.
And you could have seen it in the last, what, 35 years? 40? Oh,
41
yes,
years.
41 years. Yeah. I think if they've had plenty of time to see it.
Especially if they're from the future.
Yes, especially.
As you know, Aaron, because you're the most patient man on the planet, that I am terrible at watching movies because I feel like I have so much work to do that I can't sit still for 2 hours. This is why I invite you to jump in at any time to help me out with the synopsis.
Okay. I will do my best.
In a world where robots want to destroy all humans, scary machines crunch human skulls in a miniature set. There's some explanation text in an Apple IIe font that I didn't read because I thought it was already the long 80s credit sequence, so I tuned out a little early.
It wasn't that important. I think he got the gist from just the visuals. So
Then the credits roll.
yes.
A new text overlay informs us it's 1984, and a sanitation worker flees when a bolt of lightning gives birth to a big, naked Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you just see a little ass. That's all. Okay, Schwarzenegger. It's not little, but hey.
Three Hot Topic managers notice the buff behemoth striding toward them, and they decide to pick a fight.
Yes, one of the early appearances of Bill Paxton as one of those punks.
When Nudicles demands, "Your clothes, give them to me now," the trio attempts to defeat him with tiny knives.
Yes, those are some of the wimpiest little switchblades in movie history.
And he threatened your life with a switchblade knife. Was Meatloaf unavailable for this movie?
I don't think they even considered him. It's really sad, yeah.
Unsurprising, this fight doesn't go well. But very surprisingly, Arnold was able to squeeze into that small man's outfit.
True.
Another burst of light delivers a second, smaller nude man. Why do they have to be naked, Aaron?
Apparently nothing synthetic or metal or something like that can go through unless it's surrounded by flesh.
So, if you had braces, you better keep your mouth closed.
I think so, yeah.
Do they have to get naked before they go in the lightning time wormhole, or do their clothes just disintegrate as they go through?
I think as in later movies, they show they have to be naked when they go into the machine.
Well, if they just have to have organic, why aren't they just wearing like some wool or a nice silk caftan?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think James Cameron was too worried about the particulars at that point in his career.
Anyway, this second man doesn't emerge with a superhero landing, and he immediately steals pants from an unhoused person.
Hey, guy stole my pants.
He also steals a police officer's gun and breaks into a department store. He does a little shoplifting, but keeps the previously soiled pants. He swipes another gun, and I'm going to be very surprised when it turns out that this man on a crime spree is supposed to be the hero.
Yes.
At least the first nude lightning dude stole his pants from someone who was mean and didn't steal the pants from some defenseless poor person.
True.
The time traveler, with the crustiest trousers in history, uses a phone book to locate many Sarah Connors.
Yes, 3. Or was it 4? I can't remember. One of the two.
In a brighter, sunnier scene, a woman with a hairdo worse than Arnold's rides a scooter to her waitressing job, where she serves horrible customers while wearing a humiliating uniform.
Yes, and ice cream in the pocket.
While Arnold visits a gun shop and shoots the owner so he can pilfer the guns so he can shoot all the Sarah Connors listed in the phone book.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to explain what a phone book is in case any of our friends listening are younger than 40?
Perhaps.
You see, children.
Yes, there was this thing that we used to sit on in restaurants if we were too short.
That doesn't explain what a phone book is. But it's wild that it was common for your name, address, and phone number to be published and accessible to anybody.
Yes, on just about every street corner where there was a phone booth that actually had a phone book that hadn't been stolen by somebody.
The Sarah Connor, who works at the restaurant, watches a plot point news clip about the death of the other Sarah Connor. And the crunchy jeans dude steals a car before he experiences a flashback memory of humans battling robots with lasers, depicted with fantastically cheesy practical effects as a Casio keyboard provides the sound effects and repetitive soundtrack.
Yes, flashback to the future. Flashback to the future. Sorry, I just kind of like that song.
Sarah and her friend primp before a mirror to maximize their 80s fabulousness as two men in an office elsewhere discuss all the Sarah Connor murders. The men incompetently attempt to call the living Sarah Connor, but neglect to leave a message.
Yes. That's what those answering machines back then were for.
The alive Sarah Connor catches another plot device news segment and begins to worry there's some Sarah Connor specific trouble brewing.
She also had to pay $4.50 to get into a club to use the phone.
Maybe the Sarahs are all killing each other because they're Highlanders and there can be only one.
Oh, yes, there could be only one.
I don't know why they just all immediately jumped to, nope, someone's killing all the Sarah Connors alphabetically.
Yes, well, because the first two were killed in alphabetical order, so that's
Wouldn't
what
it
they
have been
jumped
easier
at.
to kill them by location?
Probably.
It's also
Probably.
wild that the police don't care about the 5 other Sarah Connors after the alive Sarah Connor.
Yes, that is true.
They should have contacted all of them. But no, we're just going down. Anyway.
Yes.
Later that night, after boning her weird boyfriend, Sarah's roommate makes a snack while listening to music with headphones, so she can't hear Arnold murdering her boyfriend.
Ah, yes, because she's permanently attached to her Walkman. And a really bad celery drummer. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh. But let's back up. Do we need to explain to the youths what a Walkman is?
Oh, the Walkman, yes. Well, you know how you used to, before the Bluetooth little earbuds, you would plug your headphones into your phone? It was basically that, but it was a tape deck.
Which is very similar technology as how the answering machine worked, where you're recording sound and listening to it.
Yes, on a cassette tape.
On a cassette tape, wow. We get to experience so much time travel in this movie.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, Sarah calls her roommate, but she doesn't answer the phone because Arnold shot her.
Ah, yes. She was dead.
So Sarah leaves a message on the machine to explain that the police won't talk to her on the phone, and she's currently at a bar.
Yes, conveniently telling the Terminator where she was.
Yes!
At a club called Tech Noir.
Tech Noir.
Tech Noir.
This makes it easy for Arnold to discover Sarah's location, and he skulks into the building, but misses Sarah thanks to product placement for Canada Dry.
Ah, yes, Canada Dry club soda when you don't want to drink alcohol.
And you might knock over the bottle with your elbow and have to pick it up, and a Terminator won't shoot you.
Yes.
This episode was brought to you by Canada Dry.
Canada Dry.
Is that still a company?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Even with the tariffs?
Yeah, for now, I mean.
So anyway, Sarah tips over that product placement bottle and ducks out of the Terminator's vision. No worries, though, because Arnold spots her a moment later and aims his gun as the music slows. But the man with the disgusting pantaloons shoots Arnold.
Yes. And panic ensues.
Despite taking several hits, Arnold gets up and shoots many innocent bystanders.
Yes, not nearly enough squibs were used in the making of that scene.
Stinky Pants tells Sarah, "Come with me if you want to live." And they run into an alley. Nobody looks cool running.
No, they do not.
That's why I don't run. Because someone might film me and put me in a bad 80s movie. We then get a glimpse at Arnold's first-person Robo-Red Vision right before he attacks Sarah and the man.
Yes, Robo-Red Vision.
Suddenly, Arnold's hair and forehead look dramatically different, and then he steals a police car.
Well, yes, they had to cover up his eyebrows because they were supposed to have gotten singed when there was a car that exploded in there, and that's why he had really bad hair and covered up eyebrows for the rest of the movie. Yeah.
Now, I usually adore practical effects and makeup, but That prosthetic forehead was very distracting.
Oh, it was. He went from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Cro-Magnon Man in like a split second. It was pretty funny. Maybe that made it easier to make the stunt doubles look like him.
Oh no. Grungy Slacks scares Sarah as they drive around on sidewalks without headlights, and he screams at her.
Yes. She was doing some screaming too.
But she wasn't operating a vehicle and not
True.
allowing him to leave.
Very true. Very true.
He introduces himself as Reese and explains that Arnold is a Terminator, not a robot. He's a cyborg.
Yes, a cyborg. A cybernetic organism. Sorry.
After Sarah hears that the Terminator and the Filthy Breeches Bro are from the future, she tries to escape again, but he restrains her while yelling.
Yes. Already traumatized, and then, gee, yeah, you're all from the future. Okay. I think I'll be leaving now.
Typically in movies, I'm used to if the protagonist trips and falls and lands on the other protagonist, that means they're in love.
Oh, right, yes.
In the 80s, was it you steal pants from somebody and then you abduct a person and scream at them?
Yes.
That's how you fall in love?
Yes, I think so.
They break into another car so Reese can elucidate that there will be a nuclear war and computers will decide to destroy all humans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost all humans.
Yeah.
Some of the humans will be kept alive to work for the Skynet robot overlords.
Yes, to dispose of the other humans that they had disposed of. So they're just garbage men.
Seems like extra work.
It does. It does.
Smelly Britches informs Sarah that her unborn son will teach the humans to fight just before they have a car chase shootout with the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
To heighten the tension, percussive blasts of keyboard sound effects pelt our ears just like the epic rake battle in the movie Hobgoblins.
So which came first?
Many male police officers show up to arrest Sarah and the time-traveling trouser travesty.
Ooh, that's a good one. That was great alliteration.
That should have been the title of the movie. Terminator versus time-traveling trouser travesty. At the police station, Sarah cries when she learns that her friends were murdered, and then she asks an incredibly bored psychologist if Reese is crazy.
Yes, she was incredibly bored.
Oh no! When she's learning about the deaths of her friends,
Yes.
did she find out that her lizard was killed too?
We don't know.
Did
I
the
don't remember
Terminator kill the lizard?
Well, she didn't ask about Pugsley, so I don't know.
That's why she was crying so much.
Probably. And it's probably like the most insensitive psychologist on the planet that they could have had in that character.
Yeah, the psychologist smokes and sneers at Reese, who is handcuffed. There's apparently no such thing as patient confidentiality in 1984 because many additional men watched the interrogation while also smoking and laughing.
Yes.
Captain Fetid Laserhosen explains that he is at war with Skynet, that the Terminator was sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor, whose future son will send Reese back in time, something time loop.
Yes. It's a time loop. Ba-bum-ba-dum. It's time loop. Ba-dum-ba-dum.
That would have been an improvement from the soundtrack.
Ah, yes.
Meanwhile, the Terminator repairs his arm and pops out his eyeball to reveal a fabulous aperture robo-eye.
Yes, that is glowing red from the inside for some reason. I don't know.
Meanwhile, during another meanwhile, the police show Sarah the tape of Reese's interrogation, further violating confidentiality, and they tell her to sleep on the sofa.
Hmm. Yes.
Arnold, the Terminator, the Arnoldinator,
The Arnoldinator.
now sporting a new leather jacket to conceal a wound plus sunglasses to hide his missing eye, goes to the cop shop.
Yeah, those sunglasses weren't really dark enough to cover the fact that his other eye is now glowing red. I don't
Mm.
know. That's just my thought. But anyways, but we get to hear the best catchphrase
Yes.
or the top catchphrase. I don't know if it's the best, but
When denied entrance, the Terminator informs the receptionist,
I'll be back.
yes, in his next movie, he's going to play an old-timey composer.
Yes, I'll be back.
He didn't get the part for Mozart.
No.
Sorry.
Oh. So can I bring up a casting thing
Absolutely.
that I read? Okay, so I remember you had mentioned that you wanted to see them flip, that Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Reese character and the Reese character as the Terminator.
Yeah, because I thought it would be more believable if the human was the big strong guy, because you'd have to work out to fight this robot.
Yes. So originally, it wasn't James Cameron, but the other producers and such wanted to cast Arnold as the Reese character.
Yeah.
So that was
So I was
originally the
right.
idea. Yes.
I was right.
But neither Cameron nor Arnold thought that worked. And Arnold was much more interested in the robot. And then Cameron was like, oh, yeah, you would be a good robot.
He also didn't want to wear those nasty pants.
Probably. And then I think they were gonna like have Sylvester Stallone or somebody play the Terminator. I don't think that really would have worked.
I had no idea.
Yes.
Anyway, we hear the iconic line. Give me that read again, Aaron.
I'll be back.
He will. He is. He crashes his car into the building and shoots many a cop. There are so many police officers, I even spotted one woman.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
How progressive.
Yes.
Still doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
No.
Which
Not even
our
close.
friends know is when two named women characters speak to each other about something other than a man.
Mm-hmm.
We came kind of close with Sarah and her roommate talking about the lizard,
Yes.
but his name is Pugsley.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sarah hides, and Mr. Yucky Bottoms attacks someone so he can escape.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold mows down all the police officers, and Reese locates Sarah so they can run out of the burning building.
Mm-hmm.
The two humans flee in Garth Algar's car.
Yes, the gremlin.
But it runs out of gas, so they push it into a ravine because they have no respect for other people's belongings.
Yes, although that car shows up later to
Huh.
be destroyed. It's really funny.
Maybe it was just a really popular car.
Yeah, maybe.
The humans shiver together under a bridge, and Sarah reenacts the scene from the Rocky Horror Picture Show when Janet dresses Rocky's wounds. So my Eddie joke earlier
Yes,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Oh, totally. Yes.
Reese tells Sarah that her future son, John, looks like him.
Mm.
Can you have foreshadowing in a movie about time travel? Is that allowed?
Would that be aft shadowing?
Post shadowing?
Pre-post shadowing. Yes.
He declares the future is not set, but it has to be. Otherwise, civilization cannot collapse, thus causing John Connor to send Reese back in time so he can steal the most disgusting pair of pants on the planet and then knock up Sarah so John can be born, so he can grow up, so he can send Reese back in time, so he can shoot Sarah, so John can be born. Ah! I hate time travel. If the Terminator never went back in time, he never would have traumatized Sarah, and
Mm,
she would have never felt the need to raise her son in a way that would prepare him to fight robots, thus causing this endless time loop.
right. She wouldn't have gotten pregnant too, so.
Yeah, because her date canceled on her.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can bet that Reese will do the nasty in the pasty.
Oh, yes.
There's a scene from the future where the humans live underground in squalor. Reese gazes at a photo of Sarah, but a Terminator shows up and shoots the crap out of the humans with lasers.
Oh, yes.
The Terminator has red reflective eyes.
Ah, yes.
Who came up with the idea first? When was Blade Runner made?
About the same time.
Huh. Was that just standard 80s future robot stuff?
I guess so.
We switched to a different scene with the Terminator. And I love the Arnold puppet so much. Do you think when he was governor and didn't want to go to boring meetings, he just sent the puppet instead?
The Governator.
I hope they let him keep the puppet.
Yes, yes.
Oh no, did the puppet not have eyebrows? And then when they were shooting the other scenes, they're like, we forgot to put eyebrows on the puppet. We have to get rid of the human's eyebrows.
Probably.
Anyway, Arnold scrolls through human phrases and tells a human janitor, fuck you, asshole. Why didn't that become the beloved catchphrase of the movie?
I know. Gosh. Fuck you, asshole.
So when you were a kid and
Yeah.
you saw this movie and you should not have watched this as a child,
Mm.
was this part of your catchphrase repertoire?
Uh, yeah, before and after.
How did you not get kicked out of school?
I don't know.
I'm
Things
just
were different in the 80s.
I'm just quoting cinema. Yeah, your teachers can't yell at you if they're smoking.
I know. They can't chase you either.
Sarah and the dirty denim dude check into a hotel with lovely paneled walls.
Hmm. Just wish they would have had one of those master plan theater screens right inside the doorway.
Oh, yeah. What's that show called with the two brothers?
Supernatural.
Yeah, the brothers that fight ghosts, the hotels they stay in. Ooh. We've stayed in a few hotels that looked like the sets from Supernatural,
Yes, we have.
like in Iowa,
Oh, yes.
Indiana, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Sarah takes a shower, then calls her mom. But it's not her mom. It's a ruse.
Oh, no.
It's the Terminator.
Yes, with a great tape recorder voice of her mom.
Then we all learn how to make pipe bombs when the future human teaches Sarah.
Oh, yes.
So she can teach her son.
Yes.
So she can teach the future man.
Yes.
So he can teach Sarah.
Exactly.
Thus completing the bomb Ouroboros.
Yes, Bomber-Boris.
Oh, that'd be a great name for a punk band.
Ah, it would be.
After telling Sarah that he loves her, the man aggressively throws the pipe bombs into a bag.
Yes.
But instead of fleeing, Sarah decides she's in Rocky Horror once again so Reese can touch her.
Yep. We'll just leave it at that.
No, I think we have to explain that the two of them bone.
Oh, yes, they do. And you have to have I guess, the mandatory 80s breast shot.
Yes, because it's the 80s, movie viewers are contractually obligated to see at least one set of breasts.
Yes, yes, I think that was definitely the case.
Aaron, do you know when intimacy choreographers became a thing?
I don't think it was very long ago. I think that's a fairly recent thing.
Didn't anyone watch movies in the 80s and go, wow, this is embarrassing. We need to hire a choreographer?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know when it started coming into wide use, but yes, I don't think it was too long ago.
I don't have a good transition out of that.
Yeah, yep. I think we just
Let's move on.
screen wipe and move to the next. Yes.
The forcefully annoying computerized keyboard preset music tells us that it's time for another action scene.
Yes.
Sarah and the person with putrid pantalones drive away in a stolen truck as the Terminator chases them via motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
Despite not wearing seatbelts, the humans aren't thrown from the vehicle when they crash.
True.
A big rig runs over Arnold, and he inadvertently becomes the hero when he kills the creepy truck driver and sets free the child passenger.
Yeah, you kind of get that impression a little bit. It seems like something a little skeevy's going on there that gets interrupted.
Arnold steals the truck so he could run over the humans. But at this point, I really am rooting for the Terminator. If he kills Sarah, John Connor won't exist. And he won't send Reese back in time. And this movie won't exist. And I won't have to watch it with its impossible to correct time travel paradox.
Ah, yes, yes. Speaking of time travel paradoxes,
Yes.
another one is about to show itself. This is where the gremlin reappears.
Maybe it crawled out of the ravine.
Yes, I think so. It is a gremlin.
We're then treated to the true star of the film, a literal hot dumpster fire.
Oh, yes.
Not one to be upstaged, the Terminator's stunt double enters the scene ablaze.
Ah, yes. That is a good flame burn person shot. I mean, I don't know what the proper term is.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a stunt person, but that stunt person was totally engulfed in
They
fire.
were really on fire. Usually I love practical effects, but I don't want the people to be endangered. But they seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, hopefully.
Sarah and Reese stagger about the flames and embrace.
Yes, they thought they were victorious.
This is once again another Rocky Horror reference because it's the scene from the song Superheroes in the UK version.
Ah, yes, yes.
When they crawl around in the wreckage and find each other to embrace. Stumble, stumble, fall.
Yes.
Oh no. Just when I thought I couldn't possibly adore the Terminator more. Like a shiny phoenix, the stop-motion robotic skeleton of the Terminator rises from the flames.
Yay!
Sarah and Reese run in front of a green screen in an attempt to escape from the limping cybernetic assassin.
Ah, yes.
They duck into a factory and think the assembly line robots will protect them as the puppet Terminator pursues them. Now that the Terminator sees how robots are treated in the past, is this the inspiration for the robot uprising?
Probably, yes.
Oh, also, are the Terminator's teeth metal?
Maybe they were just painted to look like
Oh, he had
teeth.
veneers.
Ah, yes, veneers. They are
Robot
in
veneers.
Hollywood. Yes, yes. May your tooth chip and shatter.
Oh. You should have saved that joke for the end of the movie battle scene.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh.
That's okay. It's good. I like it. Now, reenacting the rake fight from the movie Hobgoblins.
Ah,
which
yes.
actually came out 4 years after this one.
Okay.
But they have time travel. It's fine.
Right.
Reese smacks the Terminator with a stick. And then
I think it was a pipe, but stick, pipe, whatever.
stick, pipe, rake, whatever. And then blows him up with one of the pipe bombs.
Yes.
Sarah is injured with the shrapnel, and she's incredibly lucky she didn't bleed to death after yanking the metal chunk from her thigh.
Yes, that is very true.
I don't know a lot about trauma first aid, but if you're pierced with a projectile, aren't you just supposed to stop the bleeding and wait until you can get medical assistance because yanking it out will probably cause you to bleed to death?
Well, yes.
Or cause more damage and more cutting?
Yeah.
Reese dies.
Aw. Poor Reese.
Well, he died doing what he loved, wearing filthy pants. But the top half of the Terminator crawls after Sarah, who is also crawling.
Mm-hmm.
The slow chase occurs on the assembly line, and even the puppet automaton expresses that this is a stupid idea. Just as the mechanical menace is about to grab Sarah, she gets a lucky break and pushes the exact right button that causes a machine to crush her adversary.
Mm-hmm. Terminator pancake, I guess. Yes.
Robo waffles.
Oh, Robo Waffles. I like that much better.
Finally, a very pregnant Sarah drives a Jeep with no top as she records a memo to her future son with a loaded gun in her lap while not wearing a seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of surprised she wasn't smoking.
True.
A child takes her photo with a Polaroid camera. She gives him $4 and he hands her a photograph that clearly wasn't a Polaroid.
Yes.
I know nothing about photography, but I know that's not what a Polaroid photo looks like. I mean, unless I'm wrong. Aaron, is there a way that camera could have produced that photograph?
That camera, no. Could that picture have been a Polaroid? Yes, but it would have been a much different kind of Polaroid camera, to be pedantic about it.
This picture will become the prop picture that Reese will hold on to in the future, so he knows who Sarah is when he goes back in time so he can bone her, so her son can give him the photo so he'll know who Sarah is when he travels back in time.
Yeah.
To conclude, Sarah drives off toward a matte painting as ominous music welcomes the end credits.
Ba, ba, ba.
Aaron.
Yes.
Speaking of reckless choices that don't make sense if we scrutinize them too carefully, do you know what time it is?
Is it time to hear from our sponsor?
Yes! It's time for me to plug my Patreon page where I share many of my resources for free because I don't understand how money works.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the commercial break. Hey there, friends. Because I don't want to make you listen to a bunch of annoying commercials for products you don't want to buy, I'm making the bold choice of not monetizing this podcast. Instead, I'm banking that you'll head over to the Unaccredited College of Klaire at patreon.com/Klaire Lockheart, which is spelled patreon.com/KLAIRE While I would love it for you to join the Board of Regents, I want you to know that I also appreciate it when my friends join for free. Welcome back to the show, friends. Before we dive into our discussion, I want to briefly remind everyone listening that the goal of femininity in the post-apocalypse is to explore dystopian media through an intersectional feminist lens, specifically examining how people of marginalized genders are represented and treated. Part of the fun of watching movies with friends is that we get to discuss what we think and how the stories impact us today. I also feel compelled to mention that it's all right if we disagree or interpret the work differently. We didn't go to grad school and have to read The Death of the Author by Roland Barthes for nothing.
Oh, I wish that was the only thing by Roland Barthes I had to read. But speaking of photography and filmmaking, yes, he had some interesting. Yes,
filmmaking.
Yes.
We're here to discuss a film.
Yes,
Let's talk about the Terminator. In this movie, everyone's destiny serves John Connor, including Sarah's.
Hmm.
Her ultimate role is to become the mother of the future hero, but I don't find that particularly empowering.
No, no. I mean, it's a little bit of a Mary complex or something, but
Yeah, a
you get the.
lot of Western culture promotes the idea that the highest aspiration a woman can have is to become a mother, with the hope that maybe that child will become important.
Yeah.
Yeah, this mythical motherhood concept stretches back thousands of years. I will give this movie some credit because Sarah at least has an active role in raising her son, the hero, as opposed to typical narratives.
Mm.
In ancient Greek mythology, one of the many women Zeus knocked up was Semele. And when she was pregnant with Dionysus, Zeus revealed his divine form to her, causing her to burst into flames.
Mm. That's so
Since,
nice of him.
yeah,
Yes.
she didn't have a stunt double like Arnold did.
Yeah.
Since
Oh.
Semele served her purpose of starting the incubation process of Zeus's divine son, there was no point in rescuing her, but Zeus did save the fetus.
Ah,
Do you know the
okay.
rest of this story, Aaron?
I don't really know that one well, no.
Ah, so Zeus saved the fetus and he sewed it into his thigh
Mm.
until the baby was ready to be born and thus begin
Hmm.
his heroic life.
I see. Yes.
In the Christian tradition, Elohim slash Yahweh impregnated a young girl named Mary, which you were
Mm.
referencing
Yes,
earlier,
yes, yes.
so she could give birth to the Messiah. And then religious leaders spent the next 2,000 years arguing about if she was a virgin her entire life,
Yes,
which was
yes.
apparently her most significant characteristic.
Yes, yes. And in contemporary lore, we have Padme of Star Wars, the mother of Luke and Leia. I mean, look at that one. She was there to give birth to Luke and Leia, and then she was so sad about Darth Vader going to the dark side that she died.
Wait, you said contemporary culture. That was a long, long time ago.
Oh, it was in a galaxy far, far away. I guess that is true.
So
Sorry.
this is not just a Western cultural value, this is interstellar.
Oh, yes. Yes, it had Joseph Campbell had nothing to do with it in a overly masculine Western culture way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm. Joseph Campbell.
Yes.
Once he
Hmm.
had a student who wanted to create the hero's journey, but for women. So I think she was calling it the heroine's journey. And he
Yeah.
completely dismissed it. And he's like, women don't go on a hero's journey. They're the prize for the hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
While I don't think the most important thing a woman can do is be a mother storyline is great, at least Sarah Connor appears to be an adult,
Hmm.
gives consent, and is active in the narrative.
Yes, that is true.
Also, the story doesn't kill her off immediately.
Right.
Nor does it relegate her to a passive role.
Right, right.
She
No,
is more than a vessel.
that is true. That is true.
There was a tradition in European art where Mary, the Madonna, was literally symbolized as a vase, as a vessel, because
Right.
that's all the importance her character
Yeah.
had in that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the movie states that the future hero is heroic because of his mom's contributions to his upbringing.
Hmm. True. So there is that.
Yeah. But unfortunately, there aren't enough strong feminine characters in dystopian movies, which is
Mm.
baffling to me, considering
Hmm.
that women make up about half the population of the world. Statistically, about half of the heroes should be feminine without anyone trying.
You would think.
But that's part of the reason that I organized the annual Thunderdomesticity National Art Exhibition.
Yes. Yes, that is coming up soon.
This is a post apocalyptic art show designed to uplift all women, including but not limited to cis women, trans women, non binary, two spirit, and gender fluid people.
Yes.
And of course, everybody, regardless of gender, is invited to participate if they live and work in the United States.
Hmm.
I hope our friends listening will enter this year's exhibition before the deadline.
April 4th,
Yeah,
2025.
the deadline is April 4th, 2025.
Remember, April 4th, 2025.
And this show is hosted in South Dakota, but we have figured out a way that artists all across the country can participate and they don't have to deal with shipping. And that's because we don't exhibit the original artwork. Instead, the selected artwork, take it away, Aaron.
Is printed. Here we do really high quality archival inkjet prints that then Klaire takes and we paste them to the outside of the building.
It's really kind of fun because Aaron makes these wonderful, high quality archival pigment prints of the selected artwork, and then I glue them to the building.
And they slowly deteriorate, which is fantastic and
Yeah.
just goes so well with the whole idea of the exhibition itself.
Yeah, the Thunderdomesticity is this dystopian narrative, and we're trying to uplift people who typically are excluded from those narratives. Oh, and then what's also really fun is the wall we glue all the prints of the artwork to faces City Hall.
Yes, yes, it does.
So once again, I hope all of our friends listening send us their artwork.
Yes, remember, April 4th, 2025.
Oh, we should probably tell people where the details are so they know what artwork to submit and how to do
Oh,
that.
yes, that would
That's
probably be a good idea.
They can find that information up on the Packard Group website. So that's packardgroupllc.com.
Yes, PACKARDGROUPLLC.com.
Under the exhibitions tab.
Yes, yes, exhibitions.
And they can see the previous exhibition. And
Hmm.
the artwork last year was amazing. I always love seeing what other artists create. That's part of the
Hmm.
reason I love hosting this exhibition.
Yeah, it's always just great to see what we get in for this.
As I said, I really enjoy seeing what other artists create. And maybe that is why I found the practical effects in Terminator absolutely charming. I'm such a sucker for stop motion animation
Oh,
and
yeah.
puppets.
Oh, yes.
I
Yes.
find the physicality delightful. I feel
Hmm.
that if a person is willing to take the time to create a thing, then it's important.
Yes, yes. And they do a really fun job in that movie. I mean, there's some green screen stuff, but there's also like some combinations of matte painting with rear projection screen kind of stuff happening. So it's like the perspective is just slightly off
Mhm.
in a really fun way.
I love seeing physical artwork people make. I love
Oh, yes.
seeing practical effects. Perhaps this is why I can spend 400 hours working on one painting.
Yes.
It's wild. I feel like I don't have the attention span to sit still for a movie that's an hour and a half long. But I'm finishing up a painting that I spent over 400 hours on.
Yeah, yeah.
But my physical labor is evidence that the message I want to share is important. And so
Mm.
I always appreciate it when I see that effort in other fields.
Yes, yes. No, it's always fantastic, and to get us away from the current sort of AI trends that we're
Hmm.
being exposed to now.
Yeah. Was there anything else in this movie regarding the practical effects you wanted to mention?
Oh, I mean, there's just some fun bits. Like, great, they actually had some safety in mind when the Terminator is sort of doing his self-surgery, and
Oh, when
he's
he has that
the
X-Acto
X-Acto
knife?
knife where he was like cutting opening his arm and doing some stuff. It's like he's gonna go work on his eye, but when they cut to it quick where they actually have Schwarzenegger's face, we'd see that the X-Acto knife no longer has a blade. But today's realm, that would have been, digitally blah, 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 but not then. So that was kind of cool.
While I appreciate that they didn't actually have the actor put a real blade close to his eyeball, because what if he sneezed? That's just,
Yes. Yeah.
I probably would have made a cardboard blade to put in there.
Maybe he's deathly afraid of paper
He
cuts.
could.
Yeah.
Speaking of creating things in the physical world, Aaron, you
Yes.
began your career as a photographer with actual film, which
Yes.
appears to be making a comeback.
Yes, and that is why I am, pardon the pun, developing the Photo Lab number 7. We're be doing traditional film processing and printing techniques and such. We'll be combining with some digital technology to do some of that, but bringing back some of that real world analog technique.
I find this renaissance of analog photography intriguing, considering that for the last few years, it seems like everyone who works in marketing and tech has been trying to tell us that artists are now obsolete because of AI programs, even though
Hmm.
they can't do anything other than plagiarize to make mediocre imagery.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's also hilarious that in 2024, OpenAI spent 9 billion, with a
Mm.
B, $9 billion to make 4 billion.
Yes.
That wasn't 4 billion profit. They only made $4 billion. So they actually spent 9 billion to lose 5 billion
Yes.
in a world where I'm sure they could have easily hired a few skilled artists for less. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think your paycheck is usually a little smaller than $9 billion.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Do you
Definitely so.
think that's part of the reason there's a resurgence in analog photography? Because artists are supposed to be edgy and pushing back against the status quo. So could that be
Hmm.
related why analog
Oh
photography?
yeah, it's this way too slick, artificial, stuff. I'll say to be nice.
That's, you could have
That
used a
that's
different
Yes,
word
I could
that
have used
started
a
with
few.
S.
Yeah, I could have used a few different ones. It's definitely bringing back people wanting to see and experience the real, the raw, the maybe somewhat more gritty aesthetic of what film and those techniques could produce.
It's really exciting for me to see you when you go into mad scientist mode and you're working in your studio, or should I say the lab,
The lab,
photo lab number
number
7.
7.
Oh, if our friends listening want to learn more about Photo Lab number 7, what's the best way to
To
find
go,
this?
the best way is go to the website, Photolab number 7, and that's spelled with an F, Photolabno7.com.
So the Arabic numeral 7.
Yes.
Photolabno 7.com.
Yes, but so right now we have developing costs and the quick scanning and printing,
So
and there'll be
developing costs, like if someone has a roll of actual film.
yes, a roll of actual 35 millimeter 120 film, 4x5
Oh,
sheet
wow.
film. Yeah, I could do all of that. Doing just color negative and black and white right now.
Hmm.
And we may expand to some other stuff later on.
And then for people who are actively shooting on film right now,
Uh-huh.
if they're local and in the area, they can just drop off their film. You will develop it, and then they would have the option, in addition to getting their negatives back, that you would scan and make digital copies of the negatives.
Yep. So for those that are into photography and such, is that we can actually give you basically raw files, raw digital files of your negatives. So you have more control and perhaps processing that you want to do yourself to those images. Or we could just make them into JPEGs that you could print out really quick and share.
And in addition to developing film, creating negatives, this digital file. Sorry, there's so much mad sciencey stuff. This is why I paint. I don't understand technology. But you also can print photographs for people too.
Oh yeah, so we can do quick mini lab prints. So basically something like the little glossy 4x6 that you would get from the photo mat back in the day.
Wow, we're
Um,
doing a lot of time travel today.
oh yeah, we are. And then there's all sorts of stuff beyond that that we're going to be doing, but those are the basics.
That's really cool. I thoroughly am enthralled by seeing the physical work people make. And it's so cool that you're kicking off Photo Lab number 7, even though it means you're working all the time and I never get to see you.
I know. I'm
I
sorry.
miss you.
I miss you too.
I mentioned Dionysus earlier, and
Yes.
he's the god of wine who used to party with the Maenads. These women threw off the shackles of gendered expectations and sometimes would dismember those who oppressed them.
Bum, bum, bum.
This is why the Maenad-O-Meter uses a scale of 0 to 5 skulls to evaluate dystopian media regarding its treatment of people of marginalized genders. This rating is separate from if we personally like the movie or think it's successful. If the film had a lot of diversity and treated the women respectfully, it will earn a high score. If we think there weren't enough feminine characters and they were treated poorly, that deserves a low score. I also want to note that it's okay for us to have differing evaluations.
Yes.
Do you mind if I go first?
Oh, yes, please. I want to hear your Maenad-O-Meter rating.
You just like saying Maenad-O-Meter.
Maenad-O-Meter.
I'm going to rate this movie at 2 skulls. Almost all the women died horribly. They didn't seem to have any agency, and their lives and deaths served the mythical John Connor. I don't even think he appeared in the film.
I don't know.
This would usually cause me to be very critical of a movie, but in the Terminator's defense, many of the men were also terminated, and no one had free will except John Connor, who doesn't actually appear in the film.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like anyone is having a good time, except some of those robots in the future who merrily roll along crushing human skulls. But I don't think they were assigned a gender.
Very true.
While I did appreciate that Sarah Connor's mythical motherhood role was more active than the traditional trope, it's disappointing that her greatest contribution to humanity is boning a time-traveling dude who wears filthy pants so she can give birth to the real hero of the story.
Yes.
Furthermore, there wasn't a ton of diversity in this movie overall. Most of the characters were white, and there were a lot more men than women. This wasn't the worst depiction of femininity, especially considering it was made in 1984, but there was room for improvement.
Very much so.
Aaron, using the Maenad-O-Meter,
Maenad-O-Meter?
how would you rate the Terminator in regard to its representation of people of marginalized genders?
Well, I'm pretty much right on track with you. I was thinking 2 as well. You know, within this movie, pretty much the entire human race is disposable. But in its depiction of women, etc., its severe lack of women characters, seeing as that there's only really 2, the roommate and Sarah. But I mean, one of the other points I wanted to bring up, which was something that I was thinking about that kind of goes off from that, is the whole character of Reese.
That's the time traveler who stole the pants.
Right. And the biological father of John Connor of the future. But so there's this guy, and he's kind of creepily been in love with this woman that he's only seen one photograph of for probably a number of years, I'm taking it, before ever having a chance to like stalk her in the physical world. Okay, he's being there to defend and save her from the Terminator, and he does not know that he is the father of John Connor,
Even though
but
John Connor looks exactly like him.
yes. Oh, but he has her eyes, apparently.
Oh.
But yeah, there is a real creepy thing
Are you
about
saying,
that storyline.
yeah, are you saying it's problematic to teach young men that if they become infatuated with a human woman they've never met before.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. That
Mm.
not exactly an influence or ideal that one should try to follow. Yeah, it's a little problematic. Yeah, anyways.
So your rating for Terminator is
Two.
2 skulls.
Two skulls is my rating for the lack of women characters and agency from that. And yes, also the addition of a very creepy character. Yeah. Anyways.
Thank you for sharing, Aaron.
Yes.
Part of the reason I keep encouraging our friends to join me at the Unaccredited College of Klaire is because I want them to contribute to this podcast. When they visit patreon.com/Klaire Lockheart, they'll be able to rate the topics we cover on this show. So, without further ado, allow me to share that our amazing friends at UCK gave The Terminator an average rating of 2 skulls.
Wow. I think this is the first time that it's been the same across the board.
It's not often that we're unanimous, and I think that only happened because I made sure to point out it's okay if we disagree.
Yes. Yes.
Of course, the amazing individuals over at UCK gave different scores and I averaged it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so much fun to learn about what other people think about the movies we're watching.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I really enjoy being able to include our friends in the process.
Yes.
Aaron, as always, I'm so pleased you were able to take the time to chat about The Terminator with me.
Oh, yes. I always love to talk about cheesy 80s sci-fi movies.
So, if I want to cover another 80s movie on this show, would you be up for returning as a guest?
I'll be back.
Especially since we've been working some unbelievable hours. It feels like
Mhm.
we only get to sit down and watch a movie together when it's for work.
Yes, apparently.
Ugh, I miss you.
I miss you too.
Before you leave, Aaron, I want to thank you for all the work you do in supporting other artists. I specifically want to express my gratitude because you let me wheat paste art installations to the exterior of your building.
Well, of course I do.
I, of course, am talking about the upcoming annual Thunderdomesticity exhibition.
Ah, yes, Thunderdomesticity exhibition. Remember the date? April 4th, 2025.
This year's show is called Witness Me.
Mm-hmm.
And our friends can find the details on how to participate at the Packard Group LLC website, which is PACKARDGROUP LLC.com.
Yes.
They just need to visit the exhibition section
Mm-hmm.
and they can look at artwork that was accepted in the past. So they get to do some time travel without having to resort to evil Skynet technology.
Ah, yes, yes.
And that will give them ideas for what they should enter this year.
Yes, and even go beyond those ideas.
Yes.
Yes.
In addition to providing the space for this show, Aaron, I also have to thank you in advance for creating those amazing archival pigment prints that you'll create of the selected artwork.
Yes, and I always cannot wait to see how the weather affects them after they've been glued to the exterior wall and it starts to get this dystopian patina to the entire look of the show.
It's an incredible show, and I can't wait to put it together. Also, I cannot thank you enough, Aaron, for joining me on this program to help ward off the ongoing existential dread.
Oh, yes, and thank you for having me.
You're wonderful.
Yes, you are.
You're the best. This show is part of the Department of Dystopian Studies at the Unaccredited College of Klaire. At this time, I can neither confirm nor deny that UCK is simply an academia-themed Patreon page I set up because I love teaching others about art and I don't want my friends to undertake massive student debt to learn. If you're suspicious, you'll just have to go to patreon.com/Klaire Lockheart to investigate for yourself. Since I am in charge at UCK, I get to decide who shall receive the Honorary Doctor of Dystopian Studies degree. Today's recipient is Art Fuentes, aka ARF. Not only is he on the Board of Regents at UCK, but Art is an incredible cartoonist and painter, and I must admit that I'm a little biased because I own 2 of his sketches, which I have framed and on display in my home. His work is the platonic ideal of what a cartoon should be. There's a combination of amazing design, craft, expression, and social commentary. Art trained under John Kay of Ren and Stimpy fame and worked at Spumco Studio, but you can see his work for yourself at arftheartiste.com, which is spelled ARFTheartiste.com. Please welcome Dr. Art Fuentes.
Hello, hello. Now I can always say I'm a doctor and not lie about it.
Yes, or should I be calling you Dr. Arf instead?
Dr. ARF sounds great.
You'll have to get a custom license plate now.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, my license plate does say I am ARF.
That is incredible. Now I'll have to send you a UCK parking pass.
Yes, that's what it's missing.
Thank you for taking the time to be here. I know that you've got a lot going on, and I saw that you have an art exhibition coming up.
Yes, yes. Me and my friend Tom Laura, aka Big Toe, we're putting on a show in April just because we wanted to get, a lot of our friends together to show their work and to maybe hopefully sell some stuff. It's in Long Beach, April 12th, Long Beach, California, at a place called the Dark Arts Emporium. So if you're in the area, April 12th is opening night.
What is the exhibition called?
Cartoon Creeps of the Apocalypse. So it's a lot of artists who do a lot of cartoon type stuff.
That's very
Trying
exciting.
to elevate those cartoons, make them more relevant.
Well, if Roy Lichtenstein gets to be in museums and
Right?
it wasn't even his original work, yours should be in the Smithsonian for sure.
Exactly. That's our thinking.
Art, I'm so happy you could join me. And it's not just because I want to help increase your fame, so the artwork I own created by you will increase in value. I personally adore your subversive artwork, and I'm especially a fan of the anti-fascist work you've been sharing on social media recently.
That's important stuff.
I want our friends listening to check out that work. What platforms are you on?
I'm on Instagram at ARF the Artiste. It's very weird. It's ARF underscore the underscore artiste. I don't know why they had made me do it that way. I'm on Blue Sky also as ARF the Artiste. And Substack. I write some stuff on Substack. So I'm on Substack under ARF the Artiste as well.
You're doing such important work, and this is why I want to award you with the honorary degree. Now, I have had to endure a few too many long and boring graduation ceremonies, which is why instead of making everyone sit on horrible folding chairs or hard plastic benches in some sports arena, I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions.
Awesome. I've been through some long graduations also, so I understand.
I want to ask, what is one of your favorite dystopian novels?
I would have to say, I still remember when I first read it. It was Neuromancer by William Gibson. It kind of blew my mind when I read it the first time. And it was before the internet. So, of course, it was very, whoa, this will never happen. But then, like, oh, I guess it is happening.
It's been a long time since I've read that. Could you tell us more about it?
It's about pretty much a group of hackers, if you will, trying to hack into an AI. There you go. It's more relevant now. An AI intelligence to free it so it could go and join the other main AI in the universe. and be together and do whatever AI does together, I guess. It's very good. At the time, like I said, there was no internet. So to me, it's very prophetic. It talked about like VR stuff. And before that was even a concept. So it's really entertaining. And there's 3 books in that trilogy. So it kind of opened up my brain a little bit when I first read it.
Thank you. Second, what's a unique skill you have that could be helpful in a post-apocalyptic community?
My stepfather was a butcher, so I can butcher a carcass for you. I mean, he taught me. I'm sure he was very sad that I didn't follow in his footsteps and become a butcher, but it just wasn't my thing. But I mean, any animal, I can carve him up and we can barbecue him. So
Next, would you rather fight a Godzilla-sized Mickey Mouse or a Betty Boop who can shoot lasers from her eyes?
whoa, it's a hard one. I would take the Mickey Mouse because I think he's a scrapper. I think people see him as soft, but I think he'd put up a good fight. So I think the Mickey would be good. And I'd have to wear Mickey gloves also, like he has, so make it even.
Yeah. Oh, you sent me a sticker with Mickey Mouse, and
Oh yeah,
he is
the
clearly
famous Mickey Mouse.
giving me the finger. And I almost stuck it on the back of my computer, but I was teaching at a university at the time and used my computer
Hmm.
for lectures. I'm like, oh no, that's inappropriate. I'll put it on my sewing machine instead. And so it faces me. And it wasn't until I was putting the sticker down I realized, oh no, Mickey Mouse has 3 arms, and that isn't an arm
Yes.
at all.
Yeah, I had a man, a real I was vending at a convention and he came and he saw the sticker and he's like, "Oh my God, I love Mickey. It's so great." He had his whole Mickey Mouse stuff on. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." He bought like 4 of them. I mean, I saw him staring at them, so I'm like, I guess he must be okay with the third arm. And he just bought them and went on his way. And my booth partner, she was like, "Does he know that?" I'm like, "I don't even know, but whatever. He'll find out, I guess."
Oh, that's fabulous. My next question is, what's something sensible you keep around in case there's an emergency?
Well, I don't even know if I keep them around just because for an emergency, but I just like having first aid kits. I have like, I don't know, 6 like fully stocked first aid kits, never been used. I don't know, I just like the look of them, I guess. But there you go. I have lots of first aid kits. So
Perhaps it's like if you bring an umbrella with, it's not going to rain.
there you go. Yeah.
You're warding off the
Like a,
emergencies.
it's like a talisman. Yes.
Finally, to help during these dark times, what advice do you have for us?
Oh God. Well, considering who we have in charge.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother interview. But anyways, I mean, I know we're angry and we hate everything that's going on and it's so bad. But I think we still need to be kind to each other, and especially the people who need it. Our homeless people and people who need help. I think we need to help them even more now because it's just getting more horrible for everybody. And whenever possible, we need to eat the rich. So, yeah.
Yes, eat the rich. I wonder if that has ever been part of an honorary degree commencement address.
I don't know. Maybe the cool ones.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr.
Thank you,
Art.
Claire. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm gonna throw that around all the time now. Dr. ARF. I might have to get some MD plates for my car. There you go. But yes, thank you for having me on. This is really great.
Femininity in the Post-Apocalypse was created and edited by your feisty friend Klaire Lockheart. You can see my shenanigans at clairelockhart.com, spelled KLAIRELOCKHEART.com. All my gratitude goes to Aaron C Packard of Aaron C Packard Productions for providing the voiceover work and my recording equipment. Find his amazing work at aaronpackard.com. That's AARONPACKARD.com. Thank you for listening, my friends. You're wonderful. It always brightens my day when you reach out to tell me you enjoyed this show.